After serving on the board of SBS and before that, former New South Wales Jewish Board of Deputies CEO for 16 years. He's been a journalist, well known in South Africa and here in Australia, but he's now turned his talents to writing a play, Torn Apart by War. Vic Alhadeff, great to see you. How are you?
Good to see you, Rowan. Great to be back on Outsiders.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Now, listen, many journalists write fiction, most of them in our leading left-wing newspapers. But you've turned your journalist talents to telling an amazing story. You've written it in a play, which is being performed this week in Sydney at the Monkey Bar Theatre in Darling Harbour. Tell us what inspired you and tell us about the play.
Thank you, Rowan. What the play is about is my father came from the Greek island of Rhodes. And on the eve of World War II, the Italian dictator Mussolini, who controlled Rhodes at that point, passed a series of laws against the Jews of the area, essentially excluding them from civil society. It meant that Jewish kids could no longer go to public schools, Jewish people couldn't run businesses, and so on. So my father, as well as many others, decided immediately we need to be out of here. And so a number of them left for southern Rhodesia, or as we know today, Zimbabwe. The issue, however, was that my father was engaged to be married to a young lady named Becky. And his aim was, his hope was, to bring out his parents, his two teenage sisters, and Becky's fiancée. He wasn't able to do that. World War II erupted, and the approximately 1,700 Jews still on Rhodes were sent to Auschwitz by German forces who arrived on the island in a couple of years later. My father's parents, my grandparents, were murdered at Auschwitz. His sisters both survived. And what happened to Becky, his fiancée? He was told that she had been killed. She was told that he had been killed. Fast forward half a century, he happened to overhear his fiancée's name, discovered she had survived. So that is the nub of the play, or to qualified, the dramatized play reading, which is what it will be. And 2 years ago, I was minding my own business and I got a call from a well-regarded Sydney theatre producer named Moira Blumenthal. And she said to me, "I've heard about your father's story. Why don't you write a play?" So as a former journalist, as a recovering journalist, I've written countless pieces. I've written a couple of books on South African history, but never a play. And writing a play is a very different discipline to writing anything else, because suddenly you are literally inserting yourself into the thinking, into the mindset of your characters. So in this particular instance, when someone says to my father, "Your parents have been murdered," or "Your fiancé has been murdered," what did he think? What did he say? How did he react? So a very different discipline, but that is what I've spent the last 2 years putting together.
Vic Alhadeff, it sounds fantastic, Torn Apart by War. I'm not going to ask you if it's got a happy or a sad ending, but it sounds great. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing it, hearing the reading. Vic Alhadeff, thanks so much for coming on Outsiders, Torn Apart by War, the story of an amazing coincidence 50 years or 30 some years after Auschwitz. Fantastic. Thanks, Vic. Great to see you.
Thank you, Rowan.